The fight week, ranked opponent, top 10. I mean, does this feel like a special moment in your career, or is this just another fight for you?
It definitely feels like, well, I feel calm. I always feel pretty calm going into my fights. I never really get like nervous, or I'm not up at night thinking about bad shit like most people. I feel more calm going into this fight than I ever have. I fought on the couple Connor cards or one or whatever. Those ones felt, this feels like a big fight, but every time I fight, I feel like I'm the main event, so they all feel pretty similar.
I know eventually you will be the main event of a pay-per-view, but for now, this kind of slide of, kicking it off, getting things, setting the tone, is that like the perfect spot for you?
Yeah, that's where I prefer to be. 7 p.m. I know what time I'm fighting. I get about an hour of media after, so I get to go watch the last couple fights. So it's actually really nice. I like it. I'd rather either be, opening up the main card or the main event. So I don't see any other position to be in.
That calmness that you feel ahead of this one, do you know what to attribute that to?
I'm confident. I'm prepared. I had a great camp. That last camp, I went into that fight with like hurt ribs, and I was like, well, hopefully he doesn't grab me. That's literally like last 3 weeks, I wasn't letting anybody grab me. So going into this fight, I feel very healthy, and I think that's probably plays a little bit into that.
A lot of people are looking at this as kind of a milestone, this test, right? The first top 10 opponent for you. Are you looking at this as a milestone in your career, or a chance to prove anything?
Yeah, beating Pedro will be a big deal. I think he's only lost to former world champions, but not just beating Pedro, but finishing Pedro would be a massive deal. He's, like I said, he's fought and lost to only former world champions. With that being said, I do believe I will be his toughest fight, and I think he's my toughest fight as well.
Last thing for me, a big win here. You've been patient up to this point, like not rushing things, right? But as you said, big deal over a top guy. Do you start to accelerate the run and look to the top of the division, or do you still kind of take the patient approach to moving up?
Yeah, we'll have to see how this fight goes, and maybe I'll spit out a name after Joe Rogan standing next to me, call someone out. I'm a couple fights away from a title fight, especially if I can get the finishes that I've been doing. That people want to see that. People want to see me be champion. So I just got to go out there and perform, do what I know I'm capable of doing. That's putting Pedro's lights out.
Sean, over here to your right. You keep saying how important it would be to finish this fight. Do you actually see a route and how you're going to do that, or is it just I think my ability is so good that I'll end up finishing him however I want?
Yeah, anybody my weight class, I could see me standing across from them and knocking them out. I've done it over and over and over again. It's hard not to envision that. Everyone I fight, I knock out. So it's kind of, that's just how I see this fight going. That's how I see any fight I'm ever going to be in going. It's just me putting my hands on their chin enough times, and they'll fall.
I feel like you're one of the latest guys in this phenomenon where you overcome an obstacle fans are putting in front of you, and then they take the obstacle away. They say, well, actually, he was old on the decline. Are you expecting that after you win this one?
I could submit Habib, and people would be like, yeah, but something. They'd say something. So I have paid no attention to what the negative fans say. It doesn't matter to me. Yes, I'll go out there and finish Pedro, and yes, it'll be like, yeah, but. So it doesn't matter.
Are you wearing 2 watches?
Yes.
What time is it?
Neither of them are right.
Hey, Sean, over here, right in the middle. Munhoz has never been knocked out. Would that add a bit more, just going out there and being the first guy to do that in the UFC?
Yeah, it would be huge. I think it would. I think a win over him will be huge, but a finish over Pedro would be massive. And I'm all about the massive. I'm trying to, go above and beyond and perform for the people, and people want to see people's lights get put out. Winning a decision, I would not be upset against Pedro because it's very, very tough. But I definitely want to put his lights out.
And if you do end up knocking him out or finishing him, where does a win put you in the division? Because, again, Pedro's never been knocked out. That's got to count for something.
There's a little Russian dude running around saying no one wants to fight him. That's an option. Fabrant might be an option. He got beat up a couple times, so it might not be. The division's crazy right now. A lot of guys are already booked, so we'll just have to see how the fights play out here in the next couple months.
Chito Vera, your former opponent's fighting Dominick Cruz coming up here. Who do you favor in that fight, just as someone who's fought Chito?
It's hard to count Chito out. I thought, I don't know. Well, I'm excited for that fight. I'm excited to see how that plays out. I think Dominick's going to, I said I predicted Dominick would win, and people think it's biased, but I also thought Cheeto was going to beat Rob. I thought Cheeto was going to beat Frankie, and he kind of did. So we'll see.
And just last one for me. What's it been like as a fighter in your career, sort of transcending into the mainstream? I saw you on No Jumper a few months ago. Not every fighter is going to get an opportunity like that. How's that been for you, just being such a strong brand in the UFC and just promoting yourself in the proper way?
Yeah, I mean, being a part of the UFC, whose platform is massive, and so I just go out there and put on performances, and they give me this platform to be able to expand my audience is huge. So just super grateful to be able to work with the UFC, and they give me the platform to be able to go out there and put on these amazing performances. And being famous for fighting, not just fighting, but knocking people out, there's nothing cooler. It's not being a rapper is cool, but being able to knock people out and being known for that's it. That's the number one thing everyone wants to be known for.
Sean, back here to your left. I know the resume of Pedro Munhoz is one of the things that stands out here because of the guys that he has beat and the guys he hasn't. But from a stylistic perspective, what stands out about this matchup? What's the most challenging thing about Pedro's game that gets you excited?
His durability is I fought guys like Cruz who was durable. We saw how durable he was. I just lit him up for 14 and a half minutes. So I've proved that I'm capable of doing that. His durability is going to be, that's what I think is toughest for him. But obviously he's going to come out there, try to kick my legs. That's everyone's game plan. So I feel like every time I fight, it's like, okay, kick his legs, put him up against the fence, try to take him down. That's everyone's game plan. That's the way to beat me. So that's what I'm assuming he's going to come out with.
You mentioned a few different names of where you could go with the victory on Saturday. One name that keeps coming up a lot that you didn't say was Adrian Yanez, who had a great performance against Tony Kelly on that Austin card. He continues to call your name. Is that something that you think could happen sooner rather than later, or is that something because I feel like fans are excited, we could build this thing up for a while until you guys actually get in there? So how do you view your paths at this point?
Yeah, that was a super impressive performance. Super slick boxer, very well rounded. I was actually calling him out before I got this fight booked, trying to fight him. And there was, you can go back and look on Twitter. He didn't really seem like he was too into that fight. So, he got some confidence now. He beat someone. Yeah, that's definitely a fight obviously we're both growing. He needs to win a couple more fights. I'm going to win a couple more fights. And if we're in the, if I'm the champ, even before that, yeah, I could see that fight happening. I think he needs a couple more performances, and he'll be up in the talks with who's next.
Last thing, you are excited to fight in this spot because you could do your media and then you can go back and watch the two title fights at the end of the night. So how do you break those two down? Who do you think comes out of those two fights?
I don't know. I honestly, it's like, I don't really think about any other fights on the card. I'm excited. I think Max and Alexander are both, top 45ers to ever do it. We've watched them fight already twice. Excited for that. I don't know how it's going to play out. My guess is as good as yours. Izzy versus Jared. Jared's a teammate of mine. Izzy's one of my favorite fighters. I'm going to just sit back and enjoy and watch how that fight plays out. Really good card. I'm excited to watch.
Sean, just a few here. You've been very mindful, excuse me, you've been very mindful in your ascent up the UFC about matchmaking, dollars, position on cards. In a sport where we see so many young guys say, I'm going to fight anyone, anywhere, anytime, where did you sort of get this mindfulness from for managing your career?
I've always kind of looked at it I didn't just get into the UFC as a fighter. It was like a businessman / fighter. I felt like getting into the UFC, it was like, okay, I want to make as much money as possible. I'm not going to take a fight on 2 weeks' notice and then my stock goes down because I, lost 3 fights in a row. So I've thought about it for a while. I definitely feel like since day one, since I've always kind of wanted my career to play out a certain way, and here we are.
As we talk about moving up the division and you say, a couple fights away from a title, are you now happy with how much you're making, and are you ready for the title fight, or is there still kind of another round of negotiations that has to happen?
Yeah, once I think, renegotiated talk with the UFC, I feel like we're good, we're partners. The more money I can make them, the more money they're willing to pay me. So I want to go out there and put on beautiful performances and earn my paycheck. I don't want to just tell them, hey, you owe me this much. So I'm going to go out there and continue to earn my paychecks. Right now I'm happy with what I'm getting paid. I think I knock the next guy out, and then before the title fight, I would like to sit back down and say, hey, is this fair? Do you guys agree that this is a fair amount to pay me for this title fight? They have statistics, they have analytics, they know I'm bringing in eyeballs. So I think at the end of the day, they're fair. If you're not going to bring in eyeballs, they're not going to pay you.
And last thing, I know sort of managing family time and training camp was really important for you. How are we going to celebrate with the family post-fight?
Elena will be sleeping probably at that time. Danny's mom's going to be watching her at the hotel, so I'll probably sneak up, give her a couple kisses, tell her daddy did it, and then go get buzzed up with the boys, drink some Happy Dads, and hang out.
All right, thank you.
Sean, just over here at the back. Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw is being targeted for UFC 279. What are your thoughts on that matchup, and how do you see that going down?
I recently rewatched Corey versus TJ, and TJ impressed me a lot. Coming back from his layoff from cheating, and Aljo really impressed me against his rematch against Petr. It's a good fight. I'm excited. You can't count Aljo out. I think TJ might have an advantage for whatever reason. I don't know, but I'm excited for that fight. I definitely would like to watch that front row and see what they're all about. But those dudes are, the top dogs, so it's going to be a good fight.
Hi, Sean. Over here, same place. What do you think about sharing the same card as Sean Strickland, your old friend?
I don't know. Me and Sean, I haven't had any run-ins with him. I think if I do, I don't think there's anything there. I think he just doesn't like some of my tattoos, which, I don't know. I think I haven't had any run-ins with him. Seems a little crazy sometimes, but I think we all do. I probably seem a little crazy sometimes too.
Sean, over here, other side. Is there a reason why you're wearing two incorrect watches?
No, there's not a reason. Couldn't tell you. Got two wrists.
Are those glasses? Are those glasses real?
Yes, of course. Come on.
Yeah, just wondering here for Sean. You obviously intend to be the champion and fighting for the belt. What do you think would be the biggest fight for you in terms of who would be holding the title when you potentially get there?
Like numbers-wise?
Yeah.
Pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Honestly, nobody in the bantamweight division really. Aljo don't sell shit, to be honest. Cody's lost like 14 fights in a row. He would be probably a big one 4 years ago. Dominick Cruz is like kind of probably sells a little bit. Jose Aldo would probably be bigger, maybe not in the United States, but I don't know. Maybe TJ. TJ could probably sell pretty well. I think the Mia versus Cheeto rematch would be big, just because of the drama that's been behind that. I think me versus anybody could be a big fight, but who's that other guy on the other side that's going to help really, really do like a million? I don't think there's really anybody in the division right now.
Do you think Henry Cejudo fits it all in this mix?
Is he coming back?
We don't know. It seems like he wants to.
Yeah.